My boss is offering to sell me the coffee shop I work at for $65,000. Now, I want to know if this sounds reasonable on the surface. For those of you that are new here, my name is Benjamin, and I represent Funderbear. And I'm going to be diving into a short story that this user posted here on Reddit, where they were asking about, whether they should purchase this business, how much profit it makes, some of the upsides, some of the downsides. I'm also going to be running through some of the comments and replies and suggestions people made, and then I'm going to be sharing some interesting points with you guys so that you know whether this is a good decision, whether these are good numbers, and what the user should do. So let's start. So I've worked at a small waffle and coffee shop for about 3 years. It's a small operation in downtown of a large city. The owner recently offered to sell me the business for $65,000. His reasoning is that he wants to free up capital to put into another business that he's currently scaling. And he feels comfortable passing this one onto me since I already run much of the day-to-day. The owners are hardly there in person at this point. Maybe once a month or every other month, they come to collect the cash. We're located in a small food hall under an office building, so there's a constant supply of customers from there. Not enough to keep our numbers where we want, but it helps make sure we're never actually dead. We're also located right by the theatre district, so whenever there's a ballet show or operas, it guarantees us some traffic. The rent is also taken by the food hall as a percentage of our sales. So whenever it's slow, we don't hurt too badly. Another factor maybe worth considering is that we're partnered with Starbucks. So we buy their products and can sell them. It's something that he already paid the license for. Now the user dives into the numbers behind the business. So let's take a look, right? So here are some numbers. So sales usually fall between $5,000 to $7,000 per week, with highs of $8,000 or more. Their average month is around $30,000 to $35,000. And busy months can get close to $40,000. He claims that the business nets around $3,000 to $4,000 in profit per month. Here's what the user is trying to figure out now. Number one, on the surface, does the $65,000 asking price sound reasonable given those numbers? Number two, what specific documents should I ask to see before even considering this seriously? Number three, what questions should I be asking about expenses, lease terms, debt, equipment, etc.? Number four, what are common things first-time buyers overlook in situations like this? Now, these are really great questions. Honestly, this guy sounds like he knows what he's doing in terms of opening up his mind, asking questions, getting support. I think he's on the right track. Now, he says, I'm not rushing into anything, just trying to educate myself before I say yes or no. I appreciate any insight from people who've bought or sold small businesses before. Thanks in advance. Then he adds a little edit here. I've seen it brought up and forgot to mention originally, but equipment is rented from the food hall, so we don't pay for repairs. This was a bit of a passion project originally for the owners, but they've been too busy with their other jobs and their family to dedicate the time they'd like to it. I have a great relationship with them and consider them friends at this point. All the other owners of the food stalls are personally here all the other owners of the food stalls in this food hall are personally here most, if not every day. but it's been a point of pride for me to manage this place without them needing to be here. We have a small team, but everyone's awesome and covers whenever needed. The 3 to 4K profit would be after all expenses, including my current wages and inventory. There's also ways to save money. For example, they spend a ton on delivery for ingredients since they're too busy to go to the store themselves. Also, this is not a franchise. Wow. So ask yourself, right? Let's just think about this, right? So currently, he knows the ins and outs of the day-to-day operations of the business. But what he doesn't know is how accurate the financials are. He is hearing that the business is making around $40,000 profit per year, and they are wanting to sell it to him for $65,000. So let's take a look at what some people in the comments are saying. So this is a really good point. One person said, the lease is crucial. How long does it go for and what are the annual increases? All of this goes up in smoke if the lease ends in 18 months and market rent is 40% higher than what he pays now. The user commented a reply. He said, understood. I can't imagine it increasing much since all the other stalls are on the same and we're one of the highest earning stalls. So if it's enough to make us suffer, it would put the rest of the hall under, I think. But that's a good point. I'll bring it up. Cool. So they're suggesting that he negotiates the lease. The thing is that they currently have an incredible agreement where it's only a percentage of sales. That is freaking awesome because that means that if they have a slow month, then the rent's not much. Whereas if they have a busy month, then the rent increases, obviously. So in business, it's important to accommodate for your worst months, so that you can stay afloat. And I think that the rent agreement he does have is great, but I do think before purchasing the business, he needs to have a face-to-face conversation with the landlord. All right, here's another comment, which I think is great. You want to see his actual accounting and tax returns, if possible, for this business. Also, make sure he's not running living expenses through the business. If he is, then you'll have to recreate his books. 2 to 3 years of records is ideal for due diligence. And the poster responded, oh, he definitely is doing that. He told me and even stressed that it's the main reason he owns a business. Would that make the records harder to sort through? He said any financial advisor would be able to look at it and know what's going on. And the commenter replied, it's pretty common, and a lot of business owners do it unless they are keeping books clean because of partnerships. The most accurate way to go about this is recreate these books so you have a very clear picture of the business's true operating expenses. Now here's someone who thinks that it smells fishy. He says, sounds too low for any worthwhile business. If you're a big-time business guy trying to free up capital, that's just not enough money to make a big difference on some new deal. If it's truly so low maintenance, why would they sell? Just keep collecting the money once a week. Smells fishy. And the user responded, I have a similar thought, especially since he would have sold to investors for around $40,000 or more. It was partly a passion project for him and his wife, but they've been too busy with their other jobs and family to dedicate the time they'd like to be there in person. I have a great relationship with them. They're great people, and I consider them friends now. But business is business, so I can't imagine they like me enough to take that much of a hit on the sale. And someone commented here, I wouldn't touch it unless it's seller financing. So let's start talking about that, right? So, what are the upsides here? What are the downsides to this business? Here's some of the upsides. The upside is that the rent is not fixed. So their bad months, they're not really too affected. Another upside is that he understands how to run the business as he's a manager. So in terms of operations, he knows how everything works. This makes it very easy for him to stay in the business and work as a key man, or to place a new employee in the business and train them up to be a manager. The third thing that I like is that it gets regular foot traffic from office workers, and sometimes they also have increases in traffic from the ballet dancers or the operas that show in the theatre in the nearby area. The fourth thing that I like is that they are partnered with Starbucks, so their product quality is most likely really good because they're reselling a very large, well-known brand. Those are the four things that I like currently. The fifth thing that I will say is that the multiple is pretty healthy. If this business is producing $40,000 a year in profit, that means that $65,000 is a 1.5x multiple. Now, for those of you that don't know how selling a business works, it's normal to sell a business for around a 3 to 5x multiple, depending on many factors. But let's say it was a 3x multiple, that means that this business could sell for upwards of $120,000. So he's getting a really good deal here. Now, what is some of the downsides? Number one, they don't have a reliable way of getting customers outside of foot traffic. So what I would suggest is that this user either takes a look at running local ads, putting out flyers on cars in the area, or creating content and building like a branded page and a branded website for this company so that they can artificially increase demand outside of just their natural organic foot traffic. My second concern is the lease agreement, like some of the other users raised. How long is that agreement in place for? When is the expiration? And will this impact the revenue of the business? My third concern is that the owner is currently running some of these expenses through the business, so I'm unsure on that profit amount that they shared. Is that profit after he's taken cash out of the business? I think that the user would need to sit down with an accountant, pay the accountant whatever their rate is, whether it's, $200 an hour, $500 an hour, because it's going to be worth your time getting a high quality accountant to take a look through all those financials before you spend tens of thousands of dollars. One other thing that I want to add here is that it is great that the user said that profit is after he's been paid. Okay? So that is after he's received his wages and inventory. That's really good, because that means that if he were to purchase the business, he's got $3,000 to $4,000 in profit that he can reinvest into things like ads or new products or hiring, employees, maybe renovating, rebranding, flyers, content, he's got money to invest into this business, right? But now let's talk about seller financing. This is where you can get a ton of leverage when purchasing a business. The business asking price is $65,000. And the profit is $3,000 to $4,000 a month. So what if the user suggested seller financing? What would this look like? Well, instead of paying $65,000 up front, maybe he pays $5,500 a month over 12 months, which is $66,000. And with that $5,500 a month, he could, out of the $3,000 to $4,000 in profit, he could, let's say, subtract, $3,000 to pay off the business owner. And that means that the company is still profiting about $1,000 a month, and his payments due are only $2,500 a month. Now, if he really wanted to stretch this, he could maybe do it over 18 months. So $65,000 divided by 18 is $3,600 per month. So what he could do now is what we call a buyout or an earn-out, where over 18 months, he can take $3,600 in profits to pay to the business owner, and then he could use his own money, let's say $1,000 a month, to invest into the business for growth. Whether that's a little bit of ads, you run $1,000 of ads, you print $1,000 of flyers, you hire a part-time intern for $1,000 a month, whatever it might be. So now he's in a situation where over 18 months, the business's profit is paying for itself, and his only risk is $1,000 a month instead of $65,000 upfront. Now, what he could do, if he were to leverage a business loan, is pay the $3,600 from profit every month to the business owner, and then instead of investing $1,000 into the business, he could use the business's financials to apply for a short-term business loan, maybe 6 to 12 months, of let's say $10,000, and use that cash for growth. Use it for hiring a new employee, use it for running promotions or local ads or printing flyers, maybe collaborating with influencers or whatever it may be. So those are just a few examples of how this user could leverage seller financing, what he needs to check before buying this business, and then how he could use a business loan to grow this business quickly with fairly low risk, all things considered. Now, if you have a business and you are looking for honest working capital so that you can grow your business, so that you can purchase stock, so that you can purchase equipment, hire employees, pay off invoices, if that's what you need help with, you can apply at fundabear.com. We're going to match you with a private lender in our network who will give you an exceptional offer. And if you choose to accept it, you will be funded, and we have no compounding interest. Everything is simple interest, so we do not believe in predatory lending. Thank you so much for watching. If you wish to get honest business capital so that you can grow your company, you can check out fundabear.com. Thank you so much for watching. I'm wishing you a blessed 2026 ahead, and you take care of yourself. Bye for now.